Okay, so you sent over a stack of articles about this EVO2 thing.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, this is some fascinating stuff.
I know, right?
Designing genomes, predicting diseases.
It really is like something out of science fiction,
It really is.
but it's actually happening.
It is, yeah. So
Yeah.
we're going to do a deep dive on this whole EVO2 thing today
Awesome.
and break down what it is, how it works, what it can do.
Yeah, it's good.
So get ready for some seriously mind-blowing stuff.
I'm ready.
I'm ready too.
Yeah.
So first things first, what exactly is EVO2? What makes it so special?
So EVO2 is what's called a genomic foundation model.
Okay.
It's an AI system developed by the Arc Institute and some other collaborators.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, it's a supercomputer that has been trained on the language of life itself, DNA.
Wow.
So imagine a system that can read, understand, and even write genetic code.
Oh, okay.
That's EVO2.
That is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me more about this Arc Institute.
Sure.
Who are these people and what are they trying to achieve?
So the Arc Institute is a pretty new.
Okay.
It's an independent research organization that is dedicated to kind of pushing the boundaries of biomedicine.
All right.
And they've brought together some of the brightest minds from all over the place, like NVIDIA, Stanford, UC Berkeley, to tackle some of the biggest challenges in healthcare and biology.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
And EVO2 is, like you said,
Yeah.
one of their most ambitious projects to date.
It really is.
So how does this genomic foundation model, how does that actually work?
Yeah.
Because this just sounds incredibly complex to me.
So it is complex, but I'll try to break it down.
Okay.
The basic idea is that EVO2 was trained on a truly massive amount of genetic information. We're talking over 9 trillion nucleotides from more than 128,000 different genomes.
Okay.
So that includes the genetic makeup of, plants, animals, bacteria, basically every branch of life you can imagine.
So it's like EVO2 has studied the entire encyclopedia of life.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Okay.
By analyzing this huge data set, EVO2 can recognize evolutionary patterns and learn how genes work and how they interact with each other.
Okay.
And this allows it to make predictions that are incredibly accurate about the effects of genetic mutations. And it can even design totally new genes and genomes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that's where it gets really interesting for me, is what can EVO2 actually do with all of this knowledge?
Right.
What are some of the practical applications here?
Well, one of the most promising areas is in predicting disease-causing mutations.
Okay.
So, for example, let's take the BRCA1 gene, which we know is linked to breast and ovarian cancers.
Right.
EVO2 can analyze that gene and identify potentially harmful mutations with an accuracy of over 90%.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So could EVO2 help doctors diagnose diseases earlier?
Absolutely.
And then provide more personalized treatments?
That's the ultimate goal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really groundbreaking stuff.
It is.
But, I'm also curious about the potential for designing, synthetic genomes.
Yeah.
Is that something that EVO2 can actually do?
It is. And in
Right,
fact,
but-
it's already demonstrated that ability
Right.
to design the complete genome of a simple bacterium called Mycoplasma genitalium.
So we're talking about creating, entirely new life forms here.
Potentially, yeah.
The implications are huge.
They are.
Wow.
Imagine engineering microbes that can produce clean energy or break down pollutants or even create new biomaterials.
I know our listeners sent in some questions about extinct creatures. Could EVO2 be used to bring back something like, I don't know, a T-Rex?
So,
I'm not sure I'd want to meet one in person.
right, of course.
But it's a fascinating thought.
It is a fascinating thought, and while bringing back a T-Rex is still, firmly in the realm of science fiction, EVO2 could, theoretically, be used to design a hypothetical T-Rex genome.
Really?
Yeah.
How would that even work?
We would need to feed EVO2 all of the data that we have about the T-Rex.
Okay.
So its fossil record, its bone structure, comparisons to its closest living relatives, like birds and crocodiles.
So
Yeah.
give EVO2 a crash course in all things T-Rex.
Exactly. And then EVO2 would use its knowledge of genetics and evolution to try and piece together a plausible genetic blueprint.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
But wouldn't there be huge gaps in our knowledge.
Well, of course.
We're talking about an animal
Yeah.
that lived millions of years ago.
Of course there'd be significant challenges. We'd be working with incomplete data.
Right.
And there's a lot we don't know about the T-Rex. But
Mhm.
remember, EVO2 is really good at making predictions based on incomplete information. It's like, trying to solve a complex puzzle with some missing pieces.
So we might not get a perfect replica,
Mm-hmm.
but we could get a pretty good idea of what a T-Rex's genome might have looked like.
Exactly.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's shift gears for a moment.
Sure.
Talk about something a bit more practical.
Okay.
What are some other real-world applications of EVO2
Yeah.
that, could benefit people right now?
Well, one area with immense potential is agriculture.
Okay.
EVO2 could be used to engineer crops that are more resistant to disease,
Mm-hmm.
pests,
Mm-hmm.
and even climate change.
Wow.
Imagine the impact this could have on global food security, especially with, the growing concerns about climate change and its effects on food production.
That would be game-changing.
It really would be.
Wow.
And it doesn't stop there.
Okay.
EVO2 could also help us develop new biofuels,
Uh-huh.
biomaterials, and even create microorganisms that can clean up environmental pollution.
It sounds like EVO2 could be like a key player
Mm-hmm.
in tackling some of the biggest challenges facing humanity.
It really could.
Now, you mentioned this long-range interaction thing a few times.
Yeah.
And I got to admit, it's a bit over my head.
Mm.
Can you break it down for me and the listener? Like, what's so groundbreaking about it?
So think of it like this.
Okay.
Our genes don't just exist in isolation, right?
Right.
They're constantly interacting with each other, like
Okay.
a complex network. And
Ah.
some of these interactions happen over long distances within the DNA molecule.
Okay.
So imagine a gene on one side of a chromosome
Mm-hmm.
influencing the behavior of a gene miles away.
Wow, that's wild.
It is. And these long-range interactions can have a huge impact on, well, everything,
Right.
from our physical traits to our susceptibility to diseases.
Gotcha.
And for a long time, scientists have really struggled to study these interactions just because they're so intricate.
Okay.
But EVO2, with its ability to analyze massive amounts of data,
Yeah.
is finally giving us the tools to unravel these mysteries.
So EVO2 is helping us understand the whole symphony of our genes, not just like the individual notes.
Yeah. It's like going from reading individual words in a book to understanding the whole story.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is incredibly important for developing new treatments for these complex diseases like cancer, heart disease,
Right.
Alzheimer's.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of complex diseases, you mentioned earlier that EVO2
Yeah.
could revolutionize personalized medicine.
Yeah.
Now, I'm really curious to hear more about that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us like a specific example of how EVO2 could be used to create
Sure.
personalized treatment plans?
So let's say you have a patient with high cholesterol.
Okay.
Traditionally, a doctor might prescribe a statin drug to lower their cholesterol, but not everyone responds to statins the same way.
Right.
Some people experience side effects, while others see very little benefit. With EVO2, we could analyze the patient's entire genome and identify specific genetic variations that might influence their response to statins.
So we could predict how well someone might respond to a drug
Exactly.
before they even take it.
And that allows doctors to make more informed decisions about which medications to prescribe, at what dosage.
Okay.
And it could also lead to the development of, totally new drugs that are tailored to specific genetic profiles.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It sounds like EVO2 could really empower doctors to provide more effective and personalized care.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And it's not just about treating diseases, right?
Right.
EVO2 could also be used for preventative health care. So by understanding your genetic predispositions, you could make lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
Or take preventative measures to reduce your risk of developing certain conditions.
That's a really powerful concept.
It is.
It almost sounds like EVO2 could give us like a crystal ball into our future health.
Well, it's not quite a crystal ball.
Okay.
But it certainly gives us a much clearer picture of our genetic blueprint and how it might influence our health.
Okay, so let's switch gears for a moment.
Okay.
And talk about another area where EVO2 could have a major impact. Environmental science.
Yeah.
We touched on this earlier, but I'd love to hear more about how EVO2 could be used to like address environmental challenges?
So one of the most promising applications is in bioremediation,
Okay.
which is the use of living organisms to clean up pollution.
Mm.
EVO2 could help us engineer microorganisms that can break down harmful pollutants in soil, water, or even air.
So we could have these tiny, like biological cleaning crews
Exactly.
working to restore damaged ecosystems.
It's like harnessing the power of nature to clean up the messes that we've made.
That's a great way to put it.
For example, there are already bacteria that can break down oil spills. With EVO2, we could potentially enhance their capabilities, or even engineer new microbes that can target specific pollutants.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And I imagine it would be much more sustainable than like traditional cleanup methods,
Absolutely.
which often involve like harsh chemicals.
Yeah, bioremediation is generally much more environmentally friendly and often more cost-effective as well.
This is also fascinating. It seems like the possibilities with EVO2 are almost limitless.
They really are. And as we continue to research and develop this technology, I'm sure we'll discover even more amazing applications. Who knows what the future holds?
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
Yeah.
EVO2 is clearly a powerful tool with the potential to revolutionize so many aspects of our lives.
I agree.
But it's also important to acknowledge that with great power comes great responsibility.
Right, great. I completely agree.
We need to think carefully about the ethical implications of this technology and ensure that it's used for good.
Exactly.
We need to make sure we're not creating new problems while trying to solve old ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's not get too bogged down in the potential downsides just yet.
Okay.
I want to end this part of our deep dive on a positive note.
Yeah, I like
So
that.
for our listener out there who might be feeling a little overwhelmed by all this information, what's the one big takeaway you want them to remember about EVO2?
I'd say EVO2 represents a paradigm shift in our ability to understand and manipulate the building blocks of life.
Wow.
It's a tool that has the potential to solve some of the world's most pressing problems, from disease to climate change. But it's crucial that we approach this technology with both enthusiasm and caution, ensuring that it's used ethically and responsibly for the benefit of all humankind.
Well said.
Thank you.
And it's an exciting time to be alive. I can't wait to see what the future holds for this groundbreaking technology.
Me too. And who knows, maybe in a few years we'll be having a deep dive into EVO3.
That's something to look forward to. But for now, don't forget to tune in tomorrow evening for our next episode, where we'll be exploring a whole new topic.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions.